question today. It was actually rotation day that we had this question. And it was three fill in the blanks. We study literature because. We study American literature because. And the one that I'm going to have a lot of fun on. I know that I'm thinking when. Now, at first, when I wrote the last one, because that's the one that I'm going to have most fun on, when I wrote that one, I had an idea. And I wrote it, and I submitted it, and I was like, yeah. And then a little while later, I realized, no, it's not that at all. We'll get to that later. First, I'm going to preface this with, this is an interesting question, as most are. Because you don't really think about this. You go to your literature class, you sit down, you take the notes, and you write, and you pass the exam or whatever. You don't really think about why. Why do we study it? Why do we even have to? And that's what we're here to talk about. So first of all, we study American literature because, not American literature, I mean just normal literature. Sorry for the confusion. Come on, past me. Personally, because I love literature. But I love reading. But at a bigger level, I think that the main reason why we study literature is we study literature because we as humans need to understand our past, what our future could be, and by understanding those two, we come to a better understanding of where we are now. When we understand why people wrote about things in the past or what they wrote about in things in the past, we can get a very good idea of what's to come, and that's what people write around in science fiction and stuff. And when we have that, we can understand what people think about now. Of course, there are books about the present. But the interesting thing is, I think, big reason, is because we want to understand humans. We want to know what's going on inside their interesting heads. That's why we study literature. Now, next question. We study American literature because we're American. No. For real, though. We study American literature because, specifically American literature, because, yeah, we're Americans. And we want to know what Americans think. If we just follow that premise that I said, that we study American literature because we want to understand how humans think, we study American literature because we want to understand how American humans think. Pretty straightforward, but I'm sure there's a way that people could argue with that. Until I hear one of those arguments, this is where I'll stand. So next, the one that I'm going to have a lot of fun on. I know I'm thinking when. I know I'm thinking when reality kind of seems to come closer. I don't know what it is, but it seems to come closer. I observe something, and I observe something good, or I observe something bad, and I say, and I process the fact that I noticed something. I know I'm thinking when I'm thinking about the fact that I know I'm thinking. That's when I know I'm thinking. I think all the time, but I don't know I'm thinking until I think about the fact that I'm thinking. It's interesting. And how I know I'm thinking about the fact that I'm thinking about thinking is because when I think about the fact that I'm thinking about thinking, I'm usually thinking about the fact that I'm thinking about the fact that I'm thinking about thinking. If you follow that logic, it almost kind of makes sense. But yeah, that's I know when I'm thinking. Which is not what I wrote down. I said something like, everything kind of fades away and I'm just focused on this one thing. But then I thought to myself, well, that's just thinking. When do I know that I'm thinking? And that's my answer. When I know I'm thinking when I know I'm thinking about when I'm thinking about what I'm thinking. And usually, yeah, never mind. I'm not going to go down that path again. It's crazy. Anyway, last video for this unit. Maybe I'll come back with like a question of week sometime. I don't know. We'll see. But See you next time on Cornucopia of Thought. Please like and subscribe. It would be really helpful and really nice. Now I gotta edit this last video and then send them all to Dr. Frank, my English teacher.